Hello and welcome to Enquire to Choir. My name is Eva and I'm here to help you, fellow choir people. Yes, as you can see, I'm sticking with the term choir people. How very professional of me, right? Well, speaking of professionalism and words connected to the term, today's topic is maybe somewhat unexpected for a channel about choirs, but it's a topic I feel strongly about. So for this very reason, the topic of this video is a profile of a non-professional or an amateur choir singer. I abhor the word amateur. Like seriously. It sounds so condescending to me. This is why I'm very happy with the English wording of this, because it provides the compound non-professional. And this is why I put both terms, amateur and non-professionals, in the title. I happily looked up the meanings of both words, just to be sure. Here is what I found. Amateur. Taking part in an activity for pleasure, not as a job. Relating to an activity, especially a sport where the people taking part do not receive money. Non-professional. Used to describe someone who does something not as their job, but because they are interested in it. Used to describe a job that does not need a high level of training or education. Okay, so our starting point will be this. You are the conductor of a non-professional or an amateur choir. And in your choir, your singers are non-professionals or amateurs. You want to be a good choir leader, and you figure you have to understand your choir members. So, what are your singers like? The first thing is obvious from the dictionary definitions. They are not singing in your choir because they are paid to sing. They are there for pleasure and because they are interested in singing in the choir. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I find some conductors to be very self-absorbed. I said some, not all. And I understand when you're a conductor, it's expected of you to be confident, and sometimes that confidence translates to your ego getting too big. But the most common reasons conductors I know give me against working with non-professional or amateur choirs is, I can't expect the level of commitment if they are not obliged to commit. If they are paid to be singing in the choir, that is something else. And then I can be sure I can push as hard as I want to, I can do whatever I want, they will have to put up with it. This is an actual quote. First of all, the latter part of the sentence. This is the reason why I said in my previous video that you need more than one person in charge. Second, I understand where that reasoning can come from, but there is another way to look at it. If your choir singers are not obligated to sing in the choir, that means they are singing in your choir because they want to. That is so much better. Think about it. What's the most frequent thing you hear about commitment? If you don't really want to do it, your commitment to something is less likely to stick. And, call me strange, but I find it much more pleasing to be in front of people who are there because they want to be, not just because they have to be. If they want to be there, the greater the chances they will be committed. If they chose your choir, it's most likely because your choir is their cup of tea, but it is also your responsibility to make them stay in the choir. How do you do that? Well, that's a topic for another video. Let's just say you need to make a conscious effort to be a likable authority with great respect to your choir members, because that is the fastest way to gaining the respect from your choir members. Second thing taken from the definitions is the fact that singing in your choir is not their job, which means probably they have an activity which they call my job. And that activity, called their job, always has the highest priority in their life. Of course. If you come to terms with the fact that singing in your choir and commitment to your choir is never going to be the highest priority in their life, then it is much easier to deal with it. There is no going around it. It is how it is. And be aware that most likely you're not even the second priority in their life. It is normal for people wanting to spend time with their loved ones, of course. I know a lot of conductors who tend to be personally offended if the choir is not as important to choir members as it is to the conductor. And I have been there too. It's not easy to deal with that because you put so much effort. They don't always return the effort back. As much as I would like to say, they should be happy I'm their conductor and they have the privilege being in my choir, I really find that wrong and incredibly egotistical. I think the better way to go is to think, I'm happy to have all these people dedicated to the choir in their best capacity. Of course, some rules have to be established. You have to have a good attendance of your choir members. What I'm saying is just have a little bit more understanding when it comes to this. Also, make sure that your choir feels like a group in which every member is important. If every member feels like they make a difference, you're going to consider your choir as a priority. And in this fast, hectic way we are living our lives today, it is a really big deal if something of yours is even on their list of priorities. And finally, use to describe a job that does not need a high level of training or education. This is the thing I find most problematic. Yes, of course, this stands. You don't need to have a singing education to sing in a choir. If you have good enough voice, if you can sing in tune, you can sing in a choir. But the reason I find this problematic is that I know many conductors who don't put as much effort in the quality of the choir because they don't believe their choir is capable. After all, it's a choir made of non-professionals. I've been highly criticized, and dare I even say judged, when I decided to take on a non-professional choir. It was almost like I was letting the industry down. But it's been a few years, and now when they hear my choir sing, they can't believe they're non-professionals. One friend who is even a voice coach once asked me if I'm selecting only the best choir members to perform on concerts. I don't want to praise myself here. All I'm saying is I expected high things from my choir members. Yes, of course, there are better choirs, there are choirs not as good. You can make a good choir out of every group of people. But I truly think you should give your best. You should give 100%. And you should train them well and give them a lot of knowledge. You never know what your choir is capable of. Don't underestimate them. And don't just assume they're not good enough. They can be. You just have to try to get them there. Don't just let them sing the way they already sing. Try to teach them vocal technique. Try to teach them the history of music. Try to make them want to have your choir in their life. Because if you believe in them, they will believe in the importance of the choir. So there you have it. I really hope this was helpful. This is the first time I ever said some of those things and feelings out loud. I never acknowledged them in the true sense of the word before. Do you have an opinion on this? Let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and make sure to subscribe. There will be a new video every Thursday on this channel, Enquire to Choir. And speaking of, the topic of my next video is how to choose your new choir members in an audition. Conduct well, conductors, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye! You may have noticed the comment section below every video has been disabled. Maybe that will change in the future, but for now I wanted to let you know that this has been my conscious decision. I'm not scared of comments, nor am I not able to receive critique. It's just I find YouTube to be full of irrelevant comments like for like or sub for sub and stuff like that. The point of this channel, Enquire to Choir, is to create a healthy community full of conductors and choir people who are willing to help each other out. So if you're one of those people, I will kindly ask you to go to my Facebook page, Enquire to Choir. The link is down below. If you're not a Facebook fan, then email me at inquiretochoir@gmail.com.